Hello, and welcome to another episode of 177 Nations of Tasmania. In this episode, I'm talking with Arman from Bangladesh. And as I've mentioned in previous episodes, the number of people coming from South Asia to settle in Tasmania has increased fairly considerably in the last 5 to 10 years. But Bangladesh is a country that often gets neglected in comparison to, say, India or Pakistan, although it in itself is a very populous and, in fact, very densely populated country. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about Bangladesh from Arman and his background and experiences and what it's been like for him settling down in Tasmania.
So the place that I was born shares border with India as well. It was a small district, and the place that I grew up till year 6. So it was also small. I mean, not many people like the capital, but it's still a good amount of people, and kids all around. And because the people in that district, their thinking was even not like the thinking of city people as well. So even like my parents, yes, they like my father has got like a bachelor degree, my mother like higher secondary certificate. But again, like when I was, because my father is a businessman, he was really busy with business, and my mother, because we are like 5 brothers and sisters, was really busy raising kids as well, and I was the eldest in the family. Direction wise, when I was in my year 6 or even like year 5, because I was always playing cricket or football, but not thinking much about study. Even at that time. So I had no vision, to be honest. And that's how even a lot of people of that district, they used to think, what they're going to do probably after that, after finishing high school, they'll probably start a shop.
Okay.
Or, they'll do a business or something like that. So I hadn't actually thought much, at that time when I used to live in that, district. I was like, probably I will end up being, a businessman. In Bangladesh, we have like cadet college, so which is like a paramilitary school, not a military school. A school run by the military, but under strict guidelines. So you need to wake up at 6, but it's not exactly like military. You do training or things, but there are a lot of other rules. So proper breakfast time, waking up time, PT, exercise. You read for a certain time, like 3 hours in a day, not less than that. You need to do games even if you're not interested, something like that. And eat at proper time, together as well. So we used to have like 300 students in each cadet college. So that is start from class 7, like standard 7. So standard 7 to 12, so high school. Yes, my father's friend actually came to my father and said, oh, look, I wanted to send my daughter to one of the coaching, so that she can try for cadet college admission. So cadet college, you can just, apply at cadet college and get admitted, because it was like a highly demanding school, and it is like a boarding school. So you stayed there 3 months, and then probably you get a break for 2 weeks. So on each year, we used to get around, 40, 50, exactly can't remember, but yes, 50, 60 days. And then the rest days we need to spend like in college. So 6 years I've spent in cadet college. She used to have like 10 cadet college at that time. So I was in a cadet college named Mirzapur Cadet College, which was like 55 kilometers away from capital. So normally to be in the cadet college, one needs to have, I think maximum age is like 12 and a half from 11, like 11 years to 12 and a half. And you start from 7, like standard 7. And your height should not exceeds 5 feet 6. But I think now they have actually increased the limit. So 4 feet 7 inch to 5 feet 6. And at that time I was like 5 feet 2. So yes, it was good. And yeah, same like, I was thinking, I was from a small town and I was going there to study, and then people from like capitals, they are like 16 or 17 from Dhaka, they were in the college as well. And I was nervous, being a kid, only 12 years of age. I was like, haven't been away from family and not even lived in any other district for a week as well. So I was like always with my family.
So in that period, did you start to get an idea of what you wanted to do in life?
At that time, yes, I was not actually sure that yes, I would probably be studying in Australia or USA or somewhere else. But because of the aspiration that I have at that time and the aspiration that sort of developed in my mind, really helped me to think big. And I would say it is actually the surrounding. So that's how, like once you get a good surrounding, then you also motivate yourself as well. You get motivation, and then you know that yes, that guy is actually trying hard to get into, like say for example Harvard. So yes, probably I can try to get into an university in overseas. So that's how ambitious my friends were in cadet college. And so we had like 50 in each batch. You can have only 50. So I had like 50, and 7 didn't actually survive. So at the end, 43 passed out after finishing year 12. And all of them are like now they're quite professionally settled, and I'm also in good time with them and look quite ambitious. A lot of them are serving in military as well as a major. That's the thing. They were really ambitious. They had their clear path. Yes, it took a bit of time for me to make my own path. Because at that time, when I was studying in cadet college, when I was in standard 9, so I thought maybe I will be an army officer. Okay. Because in my family, there's no army officer. And at that time, I was really fit. Like I used to be an athlete as well. And in cadet college, normally, run by military, so need to train and then not train, I would say like do exercise regularly. So, and in my family, I was the only one who was very thin from the start, but now quite a bit of weight. So, yeah, even in cadet college as well, in my batch, I was among the few of the fittest guy. And I thought, because my father used to say, oh, look, there's no army officer in the family. So my father even like also expected me to be an army officer, and in my mind as well I also wanted to be an army officer. It was a like good match of career thing that was in our mind. And yes, so I tried to develop myself in that way. I used to train really hard, I was really fit, and I did well in my exam. Those who studied in cadet college, they used to call cadet. So like, I was a good cadet, I would say. And very confident at that time, I would say, look, because whatever I was getting, whatever I was intending, I was actually getting it. So once people, get things, they try to get confidence no matter, what. So I was really confident, and I would not say arrogant, but yes, probably near in some, like circumstances. Yes, I used to be arrogant as well, like in games and sports if I'm doing, and then was good in academics. So yes, I was like, oh no, I will make it to the army. So that sort of things played in my mind. And, knowingly, or I would say unknowingly, I was confident, and maybe sort of, I would say, look, probably more than 100% sure that yes, I was going to make it. But, at the end of the day, it didn't end well. As a cadet, we have been given opportunity to directly apply for the entrance exam, like into army. So we don't need to go through written or like verbal tests. So we just need to be in the training center, stay there for 4 days. And if we pass, then, we get to attend the training for army. So yes, I was there for 4 days, but 2 times didn't get selected. And from that point onwards, my confidence level was getting down.
Right.
And I was thinking, I was taking things in a different way. I was like, oh no. Even though people had confidence on me, I was like, no, I think, I need to put more efforts. So yes, so that's the thing. Because I got stuck into a few things. And before that, I was getting like whatever I was, wanting, I was actually getting it. So I didn't have the taste of failure. So that was the first taste of failure that I have received, not getting into army. But look, I'm still thankful because of that, I ended up in here. Otherwise, I would have been in Bangladesh, serving Bangladesh military. But Yeah, at that time I thought maybe that life would be good, but right now, I have no regret that could not make it to army. But
Yeah.
I'm happy that yes, whatever happens, happens for good. To get my confidence up, I actually need to work really hard. And even my parents as well, because as I said before, the culture in Bangladesh is quite different than Australia. And then, because 90% of my friends, probably they're already admitted into different universities, they're already into training for military academy or Air Force. Some of them were studying really good universities in Bangladesh, studying engineering or medicine, medical college. And I was, because I prepared myself for army, so I tried a few of the institute. Yes, I got selected, but I was not like, because there was a tendency in Bangladesh as well, especially among cadets, because they used to be, like the brightest students. So if they don't get selected to a university which is not up to their standard, they don't tend to study in there, which is, I would say at that time, I would say is not a good thing to do. But now actually we can understand, look, and that thing doesn't matter. But yes, that again part of the culture as well. So that thing worked because you think, oh look, I'm from a good family, I need to marry a girl from a good family as well.
Okay.
So those are actually the culture.
Yeah.
And
So I
yes.
guess there's a lot of pressure from your family.
Yeah,
and
sometimes
society.
from family as well. Same like from my family as well. Look, so I got selected for a few universities, and I was thinking, oh look, how my father will think. So I was actually thinking in that way, even though maybe my father would have taken those things lightly, but I was thinking, oh look, what will happen if my father's friend ask my father, like, where is your son studying? Even now, like a lot of my brother's friends ask my father, oh, what is your son doing in Australia? What sort of work he's doing. So they're more sort of, into others people things.
Yeah.
So that part of the culture that I don't like, but that is really prevalent in Bangladesh or even in South Asia as well.
Yeah, I've heard that about some of the other cultures that I've taught with, even Turkey. I think it was.
That's true.
Kind of similar, where there can be kind of a good and a bad side to having all that family support.
Yes, that's true. And
you get the support, but you have also more expectation.
Yeah, that's true.
On how you should conduct your life.
Peer pressure, I would say, is quite common. And even though like pressure from neighbors actually and pressure from friends, families are more than pressure from within.
Yeah.
So that's which is not actually prevalent in Australia, I would say, like even if it's prevalent but not at a capacity that is prevalent in Bangladesh or in South Asia.
It's a lot less common. Well, it's very uncommon here now. Maybe 50 years ago it was a little more prevalent. But it's as more people here live in cities and are separated, the families are separated across the country.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen.
Like the job as well, you see if someone is working in Bangladesh or even in South Asia as a chef job is, so that job is not considered a good job. Someone is working as a nurse, oh my goodness, there are thousands of nurses in Bangladesh and they're not respected.
Right.
Same, for example, mechanics. So there is a class, there is a strata as well. So you said about hierarchy. Yes, like it's not only in the family, but also in workplace as well. Like, if someone is working as a driver, we tend not to give that much respect. Maybe we'll give a person more respect if he or she is working as a lawyer or as a doctor, but not as a nurse.
Yeah.
Or not as a
What were the reasons for you coming to Tasmania?
The initial reason was actually study. So I was studying back in my home country at university. So studying there for 2.5 years. And after that, I decided to come to Australia. And it was actually my brother who applied for me.
Okay.
And before that, I once back in 2011, I made my mind to come to Australia, but it didn't happen. So I was actually too young at that time. was a bit nervous about going to a different country and study. So when my brother went to USA in 2014, so my mom was even telling me, oh, look, you need to go to overseas to study. And I was also thinking, yes, going out as well because of the situation in Bangladesh as well at that time. I was studying at a public university. My session was actually extended due to political situation and other things. And even though the university was good, I was not actually enjoying the study. And then, my brother actually applied for me, and it was University of Tasmania. So I had a look into the offer letter. So they gave me a scholarship.
Okay.
So 25% scholarship, and then also exempted me from few credits as well. So I thought, look, why not take that chance? Didn't go in vain.
So just to explain that means that you got recognition for the study that you'd already done.
That's correct.
Yep.
So they recognized my previous study and exempted me from doing 7 subjects, which was good, except me a bit of money. And even though my agent was, a bit dubious about giving me a lot of doubts that should you think twice, before you go to Tasmania, before you make a move to Tasmania.
Okay.
So I actually made up my mind, to try. Yeah, I think the agent was the only reason probably they're saying, oh, look, if I go to Tasmania, should I find work in there? Whether I'll be, able to settle in Tasmania or not. So I think that was their concern. But my point of view was, let's go in there and see what it has. And I'll always have option to move if I don't like, but I just want to try. So and now when I talk with some people, talk with people even in my workplace or with students, I always say, look, at that day I have taken the best decision of my life.
Yeah. So what course did you study?
I studied Bachelor of Business.
Okay.
I started with tourism and management. Then I changed from tourism to accounting and I did 2 major, management and accounting.
Okay.
So I started my course in 2015 July and finished it in 2018 January.
So you started study in Bangladesh. So what was the main motivation for wanting to study overseas?
But there are a lot of good students in Bangladesh. Universities are good, but if you compare the education system, Bangladesh or even in South Asia with Western countries, I think the Western countries' education system are good as compared to others. So there was one point, and the other point was I wanted to go to overseas to study, and I was thinking about different options as well. Especially my mom wanted me to study in USA.
Yep.
But because I like cricket, but the name Australia came to my mind naturally. But yes, if I go overseas, well, I'll go to Australia and study in there. So yes, for study, I would say better education system was one thing. And better lifestyle as well. It was good. It was a good experience. And then also when I was doing management, I was the only students from overseas.
Oh, okay.
And all of my friends and all other fellow students were from Australia.
Okay, that's
and
fairly unusual in business, isn't it?
Yeah, it is in accounting. Accounting, probably 90% was from overseas.
Yeah.
But when I was doing management, because I was doing 2 major, management was only one. So I was only from overseas and rest from Australia. And so we had a lot of case studies and other things, and almost all the students were actually studying management. They're doing work. Might be someone is doing professional work and they're actually doing it part-time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But it was good experience, and that really helped me opening up a bit as well. Because it's a new country, you come in to study, There are a lot of things to adjust as well.
Yeah.
Adjusting with the culture, adjusting with how people think as well. Like
Yeah.
in my country, when I was doing one presentation back in my university, I was like in a suit and proper dress, but here,
Yeah.
so he was I didn't know that it was an astronaut dress. So so in my first presentation at Utah, so I dressed up like that.
All right.
And I saw like the other sister was dressing as usual, as normal. I was like, have I done anything wrong? So yeah, that's how, yes, it's more about the education system rather than dressing, I would say.
Yeah.
And rather than the outer look.
Yeah.
So that they focus, and the lecturers that I have dealt with are nice as well, even the students, and I've also in good terms with them as well.
Yeah.
So all of them are already in the professional field, so it was good.
So what were some of the things that were perhaps the most challenging to adjust to when you in the time that you've been here?
I would say communication was one of them. It was not easy, as mentioned before, coming from a different country. And then again, like with the accent and other things as well. So it was me and only one guy, so was actually studying bachelor from Bangladesh. Back at that time, probably 2 students, people from other culture. So communicating with them, even for for daily things as well, and for study. If I'm communicating with the Chinese students, then I need to think about how they think.
Yep.
So when I'm approaching Chinese students, or probably when I'm approaching students from Philippines, or approaching a student from Vietnam, so understanding the psychology is quite important. That took a bit of time. And then definitely, the cross-cultural communication was another thing. And then the culture as well. Food, I would still say, look.
Yeah.
I would still say I like food of different cultures, but I still prefer food from, Bengali food.
Yep.
Like Bangladeshi food.
About communication styles, what do you find is some of the bigger differences between, say, the way that people in Bangladesh might communicate or interact compared with how people here might do it?
Yeah, look, I think here, if you think about Australian and then about the culture here, people are more easygoing. So starting a communication is actually easy in here, and people call them by their name as well, which is quite good. And like in South Asia, if someone is elder, you can actually call them by their name, so you need to call it differently. So communication wise, I would say like it's quite easy to communicate in here. And the challenge was, when I was coming from Bangladesh, for example, like, and then getting to know like how they communicate, how easygoing they're gonna be, whether they will mind if I ask that questions, what question I should be asking. And I need a job, but how should I approach? Can I start a communication, or will they mind? Will they be angry? So that kind of things actually applied in my mind when I first started to communicate.
Yeah.
So like even just want to share one experience. I came in Hobart in June 15, and then in July I was out for a casual job. And in Bangladesh, I've never worked casually in Bangladesh. Like, yes, my parents, so that's how the culture is as well. Like, parents provide for their children till they are settled. And here it's a different culture as well, and I think it's a good thing. The system here it is, and government has actually created that facility as well, and less people. So I was going out, and I was actually with one of my friends as well. There's a coffee shop that actually just opposite to the bus stop in CBD. I went inside the coffee shop and I was like, how should I hand my resume, and what should I give to it? I was really confused, and I was feeling really shy. And I was like, I haven't done it, in Bangladesh, and I don't know how they will gonna take it.
Yep.
But it is actually normal, you get in and you ask, oh, look, do you have any vacancy? I just came in to apply for a job. You can take my resume. But, yes, now I can say those things really, like fluently. But back at that time, I was really confused.
Yeah.
Like, yes, how they going to take it? So those kind of communication, understanding what people in Australia will be thinking at that time
Yeah.
was actually my concern. But, after living here for that long, I now know that, yes, look, they'll not mind with anything, even if you ask. Really easygoing.
As we're talking about sort of cultural differences, and I don't know very much about Bangladeshi culture. I imagine there's some similarities with other South Asian countries. What are some of the bigger cultural differences that you've observed between Bangladeshi culture and Australian culture?
In terms of difference, I would say like family is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you think about Australia, yes, in Australia as well, I've seen a lot of people who are quite family focused, but you see that there is a tendency of living separately after at a certain time.
Yep.
Due to their independence or career and a lot of other factors as well. And I think that's how it is in Australia. But in Bangladesh or even in South Asia, it's quite different because of the family attachment. And again, the thing that I have mentioned before, because your parents are, like paying your bills and things before you settle down. So they will not tell you to, give something. But again, you, as part of gratitude, probably would like to help them when they're old, because in Bangladesh, we don't have like a system, even from the government as well, that can provide people who are old as well.
Yeah.
Due to large number of people, and then also, the economic factor as well.
Sure, yeah.
So family attachment, I would say, is more in Bangladesh than in Australia. That is one thing. Communication, I would say it is hard to start a conversation, especially like, if there is a hard topic, difficult topic, it is hard because because we think too much, like, yes, how people gonna be thinking.
Okay.
So that is actually one issue. Like before, talking with someone, we always think, oh, look, how he gonna be thinking. Am I talking the right thing or not? Am I asking the right questions or not? But in here, as I said before, it is quite easygoing and much better. So yes, I found here it is quite easier. So now probably I can start, I can communicate even if I don't know anyone, I can probably communicate with that person or approach that person and ask a few things. But in Bangladesh, it might be hard to start a communication if I don't know someone that good, or if So I said to you, I started my job hunting, like casual job hunting, through submitting my resume at a cafe shop.
Yeah.
And I was really shy at that time, but that shyness, faded away after a while because I needed a job. And again, yes, my parents had decent money back in my home country, but that decent was actually not enough, especially in terms of my living costs as well.
Yeah.
And others, so I need to earn a bit for that. So I was looking for a job, and while I was looking for a job, so I got a job like up within 1 or 2 months at a Korean restaurant. And yes, as a kitchen hand. So I started working as a kitchen hand for a few months, and at the same time, I was actually volunteering as well for University of Tasmania as a student ambassador. So that actually helped me. So what I have done, again, like after coming here, the cultural thing as well, and then so I tried to set myself up in a way so that I can understand their culture. And again, like it was really, so I was lonely as well. There's not many international students from Bangladesh.
Yeah.
And again, so I actually needed to get out of my comfort zone and talk with people. So I started talking with people, and then started volunteering for University of Tasmania, met a few people, met the general manager of CP Australia, asked her if I can be a volunteer of CP Australia as well. She said, look, why not? And then she introduced me with, relationship manager of CP Australia. That's how I got into CP Australia as a CP Australia ambassador, like student ambassador, University of Tasmania, student ambassador. I was working, and then from there...
I should probably just
Yep.
explain what CP Australia is. That's the peak body for for accountants, isn't it?
Yes, certified practicing accountant.
Yep.
So I was just talking about how I made my connection, and it actually came through when I started talking with people and getting out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was actually doing work in cafe and also in a restaurant as well in Salamanca. And after that, I also work for a pizza shop as well for a while. And side by side, what I was doing, I was also involved with the university, like doing all the leadership things as well, like working as an international peer leader. That was a paid job, but that was in a student leadership role. So my job was to assist international student with their transition, like, giving advice with the transitional things and working under international student advisors. So that was a brand new role created at that time, and we had the first batch of international peer leaders. So that gave me good experience as well. Worked there for 1.5 years, and after that I applied for a role at UTAS as well while I was studying. That was also in a leadership role, career peer. So help student with their resumes, giving feedback on their resumes, cover letter, selection criteria, things like those. So there was actually not only the student were not only benefiting, so I was also benefiting myself as well. I was browsing hundreds of resumes each year, and that is definitely giving me an idea, like, okay, when I will be in the job market. And side by side I was also working as a CPA ambassador for CPA Australia, through which CPA peak body, like a lot of industry professional, they used to come in CPA forum, and then CPA professional development as well. So I made connection in there as well. I worked for them for 3 years, and I think connected with a lot of people through that channel. And the university as well, I was working, and then as a career peer. After that, they offer me a role as an administrative assistant in the student leadership and career development team. So after working as a career peer for almost 2.5 years, so I work as an admin assistant for 3 months in there. That time I actually graduated, and I was looking for job. Yeah, so it was not an easy journey to get my first professional job as well.
Yeah.
And I used to say I had like around 15 proper interview. There's no accounting firm, like good accounting firm left except Deloitte and KPMG. I haven't been interviewed. And I've been to the final stage and got rejected. And even like, I applied for a job in Cricket Tasmania as well, and applied for a job with few other government agencies in mainland, also in Tasmania as well. At the same time, what I did is I applied for the state service graduate program in Tasmania, and like I got a call after 7 or 8 months saying you applied for that role and you are, because I was actually on the waiting list.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, you are in the waiting list and someone has left, and are you happy to have the interview? So yes, I attended the interview and I ended up getting the current job that I'm doing. But that job was because I actually worked 3 months as an administrative assistant at the University of Tasmania, and after that I got that job. So I lost my hope, because I've been like 15 proper interview, like accounting jobs and then management jobs as well, like all I would say like entry level ones.
You did some volunteer work, and that helped you make connections and things like that. Would be that be something that you would recommend for other migrants coming here?
Yeah, so definitely volunteer is one thing that I would say at whatever capacity they should do.
Mm-hmm. And
there should not be, so we should not expect anything in return for volunteering.
Yeah.
Yes, the nature is the best doctor, nature is the best giver, so if you do something good, the nature will do something good for you as well. So, but I would not say like, okay, if I help someone and then in return, if I volunteer for an organization and if I expect that organization will give me a job, we should not be thinking in that way.
Yeah.
Rather, we should be thinking in a holistic way.
maybe there's lots of things you like about Tasmania, living in Tasmania, but what's
Right,
the thing that
I think I got
maybe you like the most?
Yeah. Look, I think the lifestyle. So after, yes, I studied in Cadet College and then I lived in city for a few years. So I'm a city boy. I can say I'm from Dhaka as well because I lived in there for a while. 30 million people, probably Dhaka is not even as big as Hobart. So you can think
Well, Bangladesh is one of the most densely populated
country
countries in the world. Yeah.
So you can think about the population. But again, I like the lifestyle in Tasmania, I would say. So that's why that is the number one thing that I'm still attracted to it. Lifestyle, relaxing lifestyle. There's no rush, and then people as well. People are really good. And I always tell my friend as well who are coming from different parts of the world or Sydney, mainland, Bangladesh. I tell them, look, you actually need to live in Tasmania, for that long to experience a few things. Just by living in here for 6 or 12 months, you cannot say, oh, look, people are not talking with me, or there's no job, those kind of things. So because Tasmania is unique in its lifestyle, and it unique its landscape as well, natural beauty, and then also people, and here what I have observed is that yes, people take a bit of time to understand people from different culture, but if they see that yes, that person is good, they will accept it wholeheartedly, and once they accept it, it will go forever. So yeah, they'll try to hold it for their lifetime. Yes, when I came to Tasmania, people used to say, oh look, Tasmania, you're going to Tasmania, it's going to be a hard journey. But look, I am living in Tasmania and it's been more than 5 years now. And if anyone is coming from Sydney and if they talk bad thing about Tasmania, I feel bad. And I said to them, I share my own experience, and I said to them, look, yes, I'm doing job at the moment because local people actually help me more than migrant people. And it's because of my attitude and because of their attitude as well. They're actually helping you. And if, say for example,